You're watching it happen again in real time. A brand new Pokemon set drops. One card takes over everything, and suddenly people are paying over $1,000 like it's completely normal. And the crazy part, most people jumping in right now are going to get this completely wrong. Not because the set is bad, and not because the cards aren't good, but because they don't understand what they're actually looking at. Welcome back to Entei's Inferno. My name's Chris, with a K, and this is where we break down the Pokemon hobby in a real way. Not just what's happening, but why it's happening, so you can actually move smarter inside the hobby. Now, if you enjoy this kind of content, or just like hearing my voice, make sure you follow or subscribe wherever you're listening. And check out my Instagram over on Entei's Inferno TCG. Alright, Ascended Heroes. Let's talk about it. And before I even get into the numbers, or what's happening with the prices, I've got to say this first. This set is elite, with a capital E. I'm not even going to try to downplay it. You've got a Pikachu chase, a Mewtwo chase, a Gold Charizard, an incredible Gengar, Dragonite, you have other starters for Alligator, you got them all. Like, this isn't one of those sets where there's one big hit and everything else is whatever. This thing has real depth from top to bottom. And then you add in God packs, demigod packs. I mean, come on. And the fact that it's actually tough to get your hands on right now, well, that's the perfect storm. Because now you've got a great set with real demand and limited supply. And when those three things line up, things get crazy fast. And that's exactly what you're seeing right now. So let's talk about what's going on. The Pikachu SIR, or the Trikachu, as everybody's calling it, is absolutely running this set. And I mean running it. Already pushing into that 1,000 plus range early, like very early. And a lot of people thought the Gengar was going to be the one. And Gengar is still a monster card. But it didn't take over the set the way Pikachu did. And that confuses people, because on paper, you could argue they're right there with each other. But this isn't paper. This is demand. And demand doesn't care about what should happen. It follows the attention. And this is where you've got to understand something really important. Pikachu didn't win this set because it's rare. It didn't win because it's objectively better than the rest. It won because it's Pikachu. I know that sounds simple, but it's literally everything. Pikachu has a different level of reach than almost any other Pokemon. Now, we've talked about other Pokemon that have demand built in, but when you get a set like this, and you're getting a bunch of cards and a bunch of Pokemon that have demand built in, you got to realize Pikachu is the mascot. Pikachu is different. It doesn't just pull in collectors. It pulls in casual fans, people coming back into the hobby, and also people who don't even collect seriously, but they just know who Pikachu is. I mean, I think we've all seen the social media of the Pokemon hype in sports or celebrities. And if you notice, every time they go, who's your favorite Pokemon? 97% of them say Pikachu. Why? Well, because 97% of them aren't actually paying attention to Pokemon, and that's the only one that they know, because Pikachu is the mascot. So when a good Pikachu card drops, it doesn't just have demand, it has mass demand. That's why it jumps like this. And that's why it takes over cards that might be just as good on paper, because the audience behind it is bigger. Now, this is where things start getting a little misunderstood. Because here's the truth. The hype around this set, it's real. I mean really real. That's the part people are getting wrong right now. This isn't forced. This isn't one of those sets where people are trying to convince themselves it's good. And it's not one of those sets that's getting pumped up just because, I don't know, the parties at B want it to be pumped up. This set actually deserves the attention. But just because something is great doesn't mean every price makes sense. And that leads into what's actually driving these prices right now. What you're seeing right now is not a stable market. It's still the early phase. And early phase markets are driven by two things: low supply and high emotion. That's it. There just aren't enough copies out there yet. So when a few high sales happen, they set the tone for the rest. And then people react. They don't wait, they jump. Because nobody wants to be late. Nobody wants to be the person saying, I should have bought it when it was cheaper. So they all rush in. And when multiple people rush in at the same time, with limited supply, prices skyrocket. Now, there's a couple different things here. You have the I need it now mindset, where you have your collectors and they see it, it's incredible, and they want to jump all over it. They need it now, they need to grab it. I get it. You don't want to have FOMO. You don't want to miss it. You might think that you can't pull it, so you're going to buy it. Well, I do have to say that one of the worst things to do in any set that drops is to buy it immediately after dropping, because that is when the prices are the highest. You can look at any research known to man, and for the most part, I don't want to say 100%, but for the most part, the cards when they first come out are always going to be more expensive than a few months down the road when it starts to level out. Now, people treating day two pricing like it's stable, that's another big mistake. You can't treat day two price like it's stable. And why? Is because, like I just said, if you wait a little bit longer, the prices drop because there's more copies available. The more people rip, the more copies come out, and the more options that we have. It's not worth the panic buy and paying all that money up front when there's a potential where it drops. Now, there are cards that don't do that. A good example is the Phantasmal Flame Zard. A lot of people thought that SIR was going to drop down in price, and unfortunately, it kept going. So there's some other cards in this world that may change, but for the most part, when you have a set that just drops, it normally doesn't level out. Now, this is exactly where people mess up. Most people see those early prices and they assume that's the market, but it's not. It's just the first version of it. If you buy right now thinking this is the floor, well, you're not buying the market, you're buying the moment. And moments change because what happens next, every single time, is more supply. More boxes get opened, more pulls happen, and more listings go up. Now, once that happens, the pressure shifts. Buyers get options, and sellers now have to compete with each other. And if you know anything about selling and buying, well, when there's more options out there, sellers get cutthroat. And sellers are going to either undercut, they're going to try to get people to buy their product more. And who's going to buy the product? The only thing in the hobby that keeps your product better than someone else's is being a lower price. Now, we could go on a whole nother tangent of trust and having people's back and having friends in the hobby and doing deals and buying more and saving and bundling prices and things like that. But if you're just looking at it on the surface, the only thing that separates a buyer and a seller from another buyer and a seller is their price, as long as the product is the same. If it's a PSA 10, it's a PSA 10. If it's got a swirl, it's got a swirl. If it's a near mint copy, it's a near mint copy. Now, your word is your word, because if your near mint copy is not actually near mint and someone else's is near mint, that might be why you have a lower price. But vice versa, if your near mint copy is the same as their near mint copy and your near mint copy is selling for a little bit less, we're probably going to go with your near mint copy. And that is how the market gets determined. Sometimes it's a hold and sometimes it's a drop. What I mean by that, sometimes the market will hold its price, level out. Sometimes it will drop and then level out. But it almost never stays exactly where it started. So now the real question is, what do you actually do with this information? And this is where you got to be honest with yourself. If you love this set and you really, really want that Pikachu or that Gengar or whatever card you're chasing from the set, I am not going to sit here and tell you not to buy it. Go get what you like, go get what you love, and don't let anybody tell you otherwise. That's the whole point of the hobby. But understand the timing, because there's a difference between buying something you love and buying into a moment. And if you're trying to be smart with your money, patience does matter, because once supply increases, you start seeing what the real market looks like. Not emotional pricing, but real pricing. At the end of the day, this is what makes the hobby fun. Great sets, incredible cards, and real excitement. And Ascended Heroes, it has all of that and then some. But if you don't understand the timing, that same excitement that you have can seriously cost you money. Not because the set isn't good, but because you moved at the wrong time. All right, that's all I have for you today. So if you enjoyed this episode, please make sure you follow or subscribe wherever you're listening, and check out my Instagram over at Entei's Inferno TCG. I'm more than happy to talk to you in my DMs. If you want to tell me Ascended Heroes stinks, if you want to tell me that a different card is better than the other card, I'm always open to opinions. I appreciate you being here, and I'll catch you in the next one.